The stupidity of game journalists never ceases to amaze me. This is actually going to be like a 2-in-1 video because there's some bullshit that I need to address that has just gone on recently. Firstly, we're going to start off with game journalists being called out by a YouTuber called The Quartering. Now, I know a few of my viewers know who The Quartering is. I watch The Quartering quite often. And then basically, we're going to look at the Game Awards. We're going to look at people trying to deplatform him. We're going to talk about a bunch of things. Now, for as long as I've been watching Jeremy over on his YouTube channel, he has never said anything that would even come close to him being deplatformed or reason for him to be deplatformed. I know that his political affiliations make him an easy target for some of these nutjobs, but you're allowed to have your own opinions. He never calls to dogpile anyone, he never goes out of his way to cancel people, to ask for his viewers to deplatform someone or to dogpile them or whatever. He's actually incredibly moderate in my eyes. So CyberPunk 2077 reviews started coming in one after the other. One of the funniest ones came from a woman called Kaylee Page or Callie Plug. I'm not too sure. I don't actually know her. Just for argument's sake, I'm not asking for anyone to go and message her at all. Now the reason it's so funny is because she didn't play most of the game, or she left out portions of the game. Now if you don't believe me, she said it herself.
There's a lot of stuff on the periphery that I was just like, I am never going to use this. Like, I crafted like one thing. There's like a whole crafting interface and like all this crafting stuff. I barely touched it. You know, like in Red Dead Redemption 2, you would like walk by something and it would be like an emergent thing happening and you could interact with it. There's stuff kind of like that. But it was just like, help the cops catch these criminals. And I was like, what if I don't want to help the cops? And then I would just drive away. And like, I didn't do a single one of them because I just didn't see the point. That's kind of what I mean by there's stuff I feel like I didn't fully explore, like weapons. I feel like I didn't mess with my weapons at all. There's a bunch of weapon attachments I didn't bother with. Also, just the way that the game is structured. It's like I felt like I had so much more to do.
Now this is the same woman that said that the latest Pokemon games, one of the bad factors of those Pokemon games is that they have too much water in them. That was one of the cons. This is a woman that is paid to play games and review them, and the best she could come up with is there is too much water. Now I don't know where they find these people. I'm guessing that when they apply they have to state that they have a particular political affiliation, but that aside, she was given Cyberpunk 2077 to review by GameSpot and by her own volition completely skipped parts of the game. Now I understand Cyberpunk is a huge game. To be honest with you, I think it's okay right now. I'm kind of having trouble getting into it. There's a lot of glitches and a lot of like bugs just in the game. It's not really for me. I'm going to keep playing it before I give my full opinion. But as a reviewer, it is your job to review the game and give a full, well-rounded review out to the public. But she didn't do that. She literally just glazed over parts of it. Now that doesn't seem like she did her job properly to me, or is that just me? Am I just talking out of my arse here? It seems weird to me that you would put a review out without playing all of the game. Now I feel like she didn't, but maybe as I said, maybe I'm talking shit. So Jeremy over at The Quartering calls her out on it and tells her to do her job. And these childish, moronic people just sent the most dumb responses over Twitter. For some reason, this guy has blocked me. I don't know who he is. I don't know why he blocked me. We've never interacted with each other before. I literally can't figure out why he has blocked me, but it's fine. I don't really understand why people block people on Twitter, because you can just sign out of your account and then view their tweets. That's exactly what I did. I mean, I don't know what I did to this guy for him to block me. I barely even tweet, so I don't really understand what's happened here, but anyway. Calvin Wong says, everyone read this, you have to block The Quartering. Don't mute, block. Get as many people as you can to also block. This is one of the most dangerous accounts on Twitter. If you become targeted by the hate machine, your account is at risk. Block now, share this info. One of the most dangerous accounts on Twitter. Dangerous. Are you kidding me? This is so far beyond ridiculous. There are so many dangerous, predatory people on Twitter, and you've listed The Quartering amongst them for what? For simply pointing out that someone didn't do their job properly. Then goes on to say, quick primer by the way, it's not about video games are the cover story, something easy to prime the audience. The Gamergate to Nazi pipeline has been well known for years. This is how off the hinges this person is. Calling people Nazis as your cover for your stupid talking points is the most low-hanging fruit imaginable. Do you understand what a Nazi actually is? Like a real Nazi. And that's what you're connecting The Quartering to. I suggest you pick up a historical textbook and start doing some reading, sunshine. You actually need to. That is such a dumb comment to make. Then Blessing says, hey, people like this make the industry a toxic and scary place for women, people of color, and other marginalized folks in the industry. He has a pattern of harassing people who are doing their jobs and are trying to make space for themselves. He misleads for clout, report him. Please tell me how what The Quartering said makes it hard for women to work in the industry. How did it make her job any scarier, or people of color or anyone else? How? Because he told her to do her job and review the game. Now, even if you think him saying do your job and review the game properly is out of line because CyberPunk is a massive game and there's too much to get through in the little time that GameSpot might have given her, he didn't harass her. Like, what the hell is wrong with these people? How did he harass her because he pointed out that she should review the game from front to back? I'm starting to wonder if these people actually understand what the word harassment means. He then says he misleads people for clout. Please explain to me what was misleading and what Jeremy did. You can't. You just want people to dogpile him because he doesn't line up with you politically and he's called out someone maybe you know. It's just a joke. Then he goes on to say, if you follow me and my content, understand that this could have been a video about me or any of your favorite content creators. Just last week it was my homie Zombie Kills, and people eat this up and use it as reasoning to harass people. So again, don't give him the view, just report. So I guess this would be harassment. This video would technically be harassment if we're gonna go by what Blessings is saying, which is absolutely just the most dumb shit. I mean, you can comment on what someone does without harassing them, just like Blessing or Kaylee or any of their supporters or people that watch them that disagree with the quartering or me. They can comment on my videos and we can have a conversation where we disagree and it's not harassment. What the quartering did was not harassment. Now, he talks about him and people like him being harassed and then goes on Twitter and asks for people to shut down the quartering. It's pretty hilarious. Jeremy didn't ask for her job to be taken away because he disagreed with how she did her job. He simply pointed out he doesn't feel like she did her job properly. Honestly, I am just confused. He then says this also doubly pisses me off because I know how tough this review was. To work that hard for 6 days straight and put all your energy into a review article and then be met with that bullshit infuriates me. I don't know how hard she worked. She had 6 days to work on it. Okay, I mean, Cyberpunk is a huge game. You're not going to get to absolutely everything, but when I was watching her video, it sounds like she got to stuff and she was just like, meh, didn't really appeal to me, didn't understand it, didn't bother to try and understand it, so I didn't do it. So basically, again, because you called people out for doing their jobs, it's hatred. It's just like, what is wrong with these people? It's so baffling that we're here. You know, I'd really love to sit down with this person or people like them and just try to understand how the gears turn. Being a games journalist in 2020 has had us dealing with significant hatred from irrational audience. The quartering is an instigator and he's been responsible for bringing the ire to people like Kaylee for years. From the depths of my soul, F you dude, please report him. So basically, like I said before, not doing your jobs equals hatred. Like, games journalists no longer do their jobs. That much is true. They are activists now. They talk about social and political issues in a video game and whether the video game represents them or not. It's absolutely ridiculous. I remember a time when video games were about the games. They would review the soundtrack, the graphics, the gameplay, the characters, the world building. It's not about that anymore. It's about, does this game represent me? Oh, it doesn't. Do you know what? When I was playing Cyberpunk 2077, I figured out that I actually couldn't create a character that looks like me. I tried for hours to make a character that looks like me and it just wasn't possible. They couldn't get the length of my hair and they just didn't have some of my features. They didn't have my tattoos. Do you know what? I didn't go online and start writing bullshit about, oh, this game isn't that good because the character creator didn't let me make myself down to a T. And that's what these people do. If you're not represented in the game, 7 out of 10. If it doesn't have black people, 7 out of 10. If it doesn't have trans people, don't play this game. It's just like, people, come on, like, get your shit together. This is ridiculous. This loser spends his days tearing down others to compensate for his ability to create anything meaningful to put out into the world. We have to watch him bring undue mental harm to people that are our peers and friends. People are just doing their job. Please report him. His victims work hard. They hold themselves to rigorous standards. They agonize over each word written or spoken. He does venomous videos inviting viewers to harass others. He makes a living off misery. He's a liar and a grifter. Please do the right thing and report him. Undue mental harm. When did people become so fragile? Honestly, it is bizarre and puzzling to me. He said his victims, as if Jeremy has been dragging unsuspecting people into the shadows in some dark alleyway like Batman. You really have to wonder where these people are at, like mentally. Like, what the hell is going on upstairs? How many people asked to report this guy for simply pointing something out? It's insane. Insane. This guy says, you've got the power at YouTube Gaming. The quartering is using YouTube to harass women over a game review score. He's done this stuff before. He's also lying. Please use your power to stop it. This guy actually tagged someone from YouTube in the post and then lied. Said that he's harassing women. I bet your bottom dollar that if a guy put out that whack-ass review of Cyberpunk, he would have made the exact same video. Imagine that, treating people fairly no matter what their gender is. And then he has the nerve to call Jeremy the liar. And this shit just keeps going on and on and on. And it's baffling to to me at how these people call themselves journalists, how these journalists operate. Maybe GameSpot gave her only 6 days to review a huge game, and she did the best she could. I mean, I remember when I was playing Yakuza 5, and that game is huge as well, and I was trying to get it done in a certain amount of time because I was trying to get onto 6 to do some other stuff so I could get to 7, so I could put a review out about it. And the game is huge, and I didn't have enough time to do everything I wanted. And do you know what I did? I didn't put a review out about it because it's not fair on Yakuza 5 for me to put a review out on the game when I haven't played every area of it. Now, I'm not saying she didn't do the best that she could, but it sounded like she had some more time and she just decided that she didn't want to do certain parts of the game because she doesn't like it. Maybe she don't like RPGs, maybe she don't like RPG elements of a game. All of that aside, to me, this just looks like targeted harassment rather than it being the other way around. It's not the quartering that is harassing women, it's people that are lying and attacking this man for doing nothing wrong. And it's typical coming from these types of people. They think they know it all, and then they get their misfits to dogpile and report people on Twitter, and they literally, like, the people they're reporting have done nothing wrong. Now, as I said, I've been watching the quartering for around a year now, and not once have I heard him say something damning about someone else. I don't know about his past, I don't know about anything that he does in his personal life. I am mainly commenting about this. Now, this is some bullshit, and this is bullshit from activists, not journalists, and you people know it. But moving on from that, now apparently CyberPunk has started revealing the ugliest side of gaming culture. Reviewing the latest and greatest video games before they're released is a dream job for anyone who grew up enchanted by the glow of a computer monitor or console. That's a dream that's quickly shattered for women in the field once they publish their first review. This is a lie, and it's always the straw man argument. That is a load of bullshit. If you put out a good review as a woman, you will be praised as you are as a man. At the very least, I will praise you for doing a good review. If you put out a review that says Pokemon has too much water in it, regardless of your gender, you deserve to catch some corn on Twitter. It's just that simple. You just know when you're going to get harassed, says Susan, prolific podcast host and co-founder of the mental health non-profit Take This. If the game with all the hype has anything wrong with it and you're honest about that, or even just want to provide any context out of it's fun, you're going to get harassed. It's a given. That's a lie. It has unanimously been agreed that CyberPunk is a glitchy and buggy mess. Even me personally, I've had to turn it off twice now because I've been frustrated with falling through the floor and being unable to finish missions. It happened in Avengers as well. It's a fair criticism to make. We've seen the memes and we've seen everyone sharing them around. It is irrefutably buggy as hell. Even playing it on PC or PS5, it has its fair share of glitches. I am currently playing it on PS5 and I've encountered 3 glitches. I've only played for about 3 hours. Everyone agrees on that. So what this person is saying is a lie. These are not journalists, like I said, these are activists. They don't review a game. They talk about political and social issues and how they reflect in the game. If this game does not reflect real life issues, then it's bad. If it doesn't reflect a type of person, then it's bad. We saw this with Spider-Man, we saw this with The Witcher 3, and now CyberPunk. Men in games media are given the benefit of the doubt while women must constantly prove that they belong. Prove that! Prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt, and then we could talk about it. But as far as I'm aware, that is just nonsense. I have never known a guy, and I know hundreds, maybe even thousands of gamers that have ever said they don't want women playing games. Now, there are people out there that are obviously going to do that, but it's not a widespread problem like they're making out. The industry has faced multiple moments of reckoning that was supposed to establish progress towards a more inclusive and non-predatory gaming scene, yet the issue seems to have worsened. The way Arendt and LeBou see it, the ball is squarely in the court of sites like YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. They are responsible for the harassment and threats posted on their platform. Channels that encourage targeted harassment need to be deplatformed. For that to happen, we need execs at Twitter, YouTube, and other outlets to have a better understanding of the damage being caused on their platforms. In the meantime, we've got to look out for each other. People in positions of power and or with large platforms should be leading by example. Is it a problem that has gotten worse, or are you just screaming into the Twitter sphere at usual at absolutely nothing? Honestly, it's incredible that these are functioning adults, that you can't criticize these people. Even if you put out a review, a perfectly fine review, people can still criticize you about it. That is not harassment. Criticism and harassment are two different things. Now, I'm not saying there are not predatory figures in the gaming scene. We saw it with the Smash Bros. Whole debacle that came out earlier this year or last year. I can't remember when it was. There's definitely problems in the gaming scene that need to be addressed, and one of the problems is people like this. The gaming journalists are one of the problems of the gaming scene. Irrefutably, they are a bunch of crybabies that try to coax Twitter and YouTube into deplatforming people so that there is not a series of conversations that go on or different opposing sides of opinions or whatever. It's that there's one conversation going on, one train of thought, and no one can oppose it. Now lastly, I just want to take a look at the hilarity of the Game Awards this year. It was basically a Last of Us award show. Awards were being completely glazed over for most games. No acceptance speech and stuff. The Last of Us was given podium podium after podium. But the good thing was that Ghost of Tsushima won players' voice, which basically means that the players, you know, the people that matter, the one that drives sales, the people that actually matter to the game's success, they voted for Ghost of Tsushima to be the game of the year, and deservedly so. But just take a look at the companies that gave The Last of Us Part 2 its Game of the Year award. Now look at it now. Just remember that a lot of these companies have a lot of activists and a lot of agendas to go with them, and the players voted and gave it to Ghost of Tsushima, which totally deserved it. So if you was like me and you watched the Game Awards and you kept going, huh? How did that happen? Just remember that a bunch of suits voted for The Last of Us, and the people that matter gave it to Ghost of Tsushima. I like how the Players' Voice Award was totally glazed over with no acceptance speech or anything as well. It's pretty funny.